All right, today we're going to build a kind of philosopher's toolkit. We're going to tap into the wisdom of Mário Sérgio Cortella to tackle one of life's absolute biggest challenges. How do we actually live better, together?
So let's just start with the biggest question of all, right? Why is living together so incredibly hard sometimes? I mean, you see it everywhere, from massive global conflicts all the way down to arguments in a YouTube comment section. It feels like friction is just part of our daily lives.
So how do we even begin to tackle this? Well, here's our game plan. First, we'll really look at the challenge of coexistence. Then we're going to unpack this three-part philosophical toolkit: the foundation, the engine, and the tool. And finally, we'll see how to actually put it all into practice in the real world.
Okay, first up, the challenge of coexistence. Let's just call it what it is: the daily friction we feel from sharing this world with billions of other people.
Now here's what's so insightful about Cortella's take on this. He says the problem isn't that we disagree. Of course we disagree. That's totally natural. The real problem, the fundamental issue, is that we don't have a shared framework for how to manage those disagreements with a basic level of decency.
And that brings us to the very first piece of our toolkit, the foundation. I mean, before we can figure out how to live together, don't we first need to agree on what we're all aiming for? What's the goal?
To set that goal, Cortella points to this really simple but powerful definition of ethics from the philosopher Paul Ricoeur. And it's this: a good life for all with just institutions. Now, we have to be super clear here. A good life doesn't mean luxury cars and mansions. It means a life of sufficiency and dignity, where your basic needs are met and you're not in a constant struggle just to survive. Okay, so if a good life for all is the foundation, our destination, what's the engine that's going to get us there? That brings us to our second piece: active hope. This is all about finding the motivation to actually act.
And for this, Cortella brings in the brilliant educator Paulo Freire, who makes this absolutely crucial distinction. See, in Portuguese, there's esperar, which is basically passive waiting. It's just sitting back and hoping things get better on their own. But then there's esperançar, and that is a totally different beast. That's an active, striving kind of hope. It's the difference between sitting on the couch waiting for change and getting up and going out to make that change happen. You know, being peaceful isn't the same as being passive.
So we have our goal, the foundation, and we have our motivation, the engine. Now we need the tool. And this is the simple, practical question that can literally change everything.
And believe it or not, that tool is just a single word: será. In English, it translates to something like, could it be? Or really? Or maybe, is that so? Now, this isn't about being a cynic who doubts everything. Not at all. This is about productive doubt, the simple habit of questioning the things we just assume are true.
I mean, think about the power packed into that one little question. Asking será challenges our deepest, most ingrained certainties. It's the engine of all scientific discovery and social progress, because it's what opens the door to new ways of thinking. And maybe most importantly, it forces us to be humble, to actually listen to other people, and to consider that maybe, just maybe, there's a better way to do things.
Okay, so let's see how this all clicks together in practice. Let's take our new toolkit and apply it to a problem that feels more relevant than ever today: hypocrisy, and the challenge of just living an authentic life.
Cortella uses this incredibly vivid metaphor to describe hypocrisy, which he actually pulls from the Bible. He describes hypocrites as fetid tombs whitewashed on the outside. Wow! Just think about that image for a second. Something that looks clean, pure, and moral on the surface, but on the inside, it's just rotting.
So how do we avoid becoming one of those whitewashed tombs? Well, this next distinction from Cortella is absolutely key. It's the difference between falar sobre, to speak about something, and falar de, to speak from it. Think of it this way. A politician can give a great speech about poverty, full of data and theory. But someone who has actually lived through poverty speaks from that experience. It's the difference between having knowledge about a subject versus having knowledge that comes from your own authentic, lived truth.
And really, that's what authenticity boils down to. It's simply the alignment of what you say with how you actually live your life. It's about closing that gap between the person you project to the world and the person you are when nobody's watching.
So let's do a quick recap of our Philosopher's Toolkit. It's 3 simple things. Number 1, the foundation. Aim for a good life for everyone. Number 2, the engine. Use active hope, not passive waiting, to actually work towards that goal. And number 3, the tool. Use productive doubt, that little question, será,
to constantly question and improve.
And that really brings us to the final thought here, because this isn't just some abstract theory, it's a practice. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. What certainty, what assumption you hold as absolute truth can you start to question today, just by asking yourself, Siddha,